Brazilian Shirt Name Podcast with Dotun Adebayo and Tim Vickery.
Yeah, this is the Brazilian Shirt Name Podcast. On a Thursday afternoon, 4 p.m, we do what we call our Global Soccer Interactive, which means, look, welcome to the pod. Join us if you have time. You can take a moment or two off work or whatever else you're doing. Feel free to join us. You can just get in touch on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. There's a chat box there, and if you just let us know that you want to come on and ask a question or have a conversation, it's not necessarily about questions, is it? It's as much as we do, not least on the topic we're talking about today, amongst other things. So feel free to join us, and do remember to subscribe to the pod, to this YouTube channel, and make sure that you join us if you can. Again, I'm sure you'll find it interesting on our WhatsApp group as well. So let's welcome Bruce Acklin into the mix. Tim, do you know Bruce?
We've spoken before.
We've spoken before.
I would just like to start with one line.
Yeah.
From David Coleman, I think, when he was commentating on the Olympics and athletics. And as the race reached its denouement, is that you say? He said, talking about a certain athlete, he said, he can't believe what's not happening to him. I wonder how much applies, Bruce.
I'm so pleased you haven't mentioned South London yet. So let's keep this nice and calm and peaceful and wonderful. But Bruce, flipping heck is all I can say. What a difference a day makes, but a match makes. And now, because of the difference that match made yesterday, as it is now, Arsenal versus Wolverhampton. I'm not rubbing it in, but Wolves are the bottom side in the league. Yeah?
No, absolutely.
And you lot are the top side in the league.
You're pushing against an open door here.
Good. But it makes the jeopardy of the North London derby even more profound.
Yeah, I mean, where do you begin? So I think, do you know what I think the best way to begin is probably the fact that, I always try to be pretty rational about what I'm seeing at games. And, like in the previous season when we finished second, I think that the team did absolutely brilliantly. They are up against a, dodgy monolith, let's be honest, in Manchester City. Who probably, shouldn't be playing in the league. So you are, like Klopp should have won many more titles against City than he did, because of it. So that happens. And I've always been firmly behind the team. And of course, you've got this social media nonsense in previous seasons about, I bottled it. But that side never bottled it. They did everything they could. But this season, this is bottling it. This is bottling it. You can't hide from it. The reason why you can't hide from the fact that they're bottling it is because you can see it in certain games. It's not just last night, although last night was without doubt an absolutely shameful performance. It really, really was. But it's a lot of recent games. Take out the two games, and this is not what would you call it? This is not a coincidence. Okay, take out the two games recently that Kai Havertz finally came back from injury and started. And we won against Sunderland 3-0 and Leeds away 4-0, right? And that is a big problem for Arsenal, that Kai Havertz is the only person that can make the entire forward line actually work, and he's not played. He's played two games, and they were probably our two best performances of the season. But the point is, take away those two games, and we've been pretty poor for a while. In fact, I think we've not been very good all season. I've got to be honest. I don't think.
Can I lay a theory on you?
Yeah,
Bruce.
Yeah, absolutely.
With all due respect.
Yeah.
But the whole season for me, I think it's been joyless.
Yeah.
You can feel
it's been a weird one.
Yeah, on the accumulated pressure of those years of finishing second. Yeah. And it struck me as a grim attritional journey, Captain Oates style, across the North Pole, to the line. And I think
exactly like that.
and
Yeah.
maybe this is the pressure, the accumulated pressure in Arteta's head.
Yeah.
And it looks like a joyless side and a joyless quest. Now,
Well,
the Arsenal that me and Dotun grew up on,
yeah.
that was never a problem because you never signed up for joy. You know, they were a grim attrition machine, and they took pride in being a grim attritional machine. Moments with players and moments of flair, yes, but the whole Arsenal thing was solidity. The absence of joy wasn't a problem, but since then and the entire rebranding of the club, I think now
I think this season, I mean, I said some things last night, which I've been thinking for a long time, but I thought I'm just going to come out and say them. So I said them on social media. I said them to the group that I go to football with. I said it to, anybody else that will listen. I said, the fact of the matter is, this team, and I love this team. There's a lot of quality. It's great players. I absolutely adore. That's not the problem. The problem is that they just don't have the mentality to hold it together in those key moments, right? And in those key games. And I think what would have worried Arteta, and he looked really furiously annoyed at the end of it, was that even if some people think it's all down to systems and all that, but if you look at the last 10 minutes or whatever against Wolves, or 15 minutes, that the players abandoned the system and were just massively panicking on a biblical level, and B, hoiking it forward. So they weren't even playing that system. And I think that Arteta was kind of like, wow, maybe for the first time thought to himself, I can't say this publicly, but have they got it between the ears? Because, even the set piece specialist, when we conceded yet another last minute injury time goal to drop points against not a great team, right? Even Nicholas Jova was going mental because they were doing things in defending the set piece that just they don't do. And why are they suddenly not doing it? Even though it's against a really poor side, it's because of pressure. And call it pressure, call it bottling. I think you can call it bottling it. For me, they bottled the end of that game. Obviously some of the substitutions don't help. I mean, I actually laughed at one point. I had to laugh at the idea of you're looking to close out a game. It's tight. You're under a bit of pressure. You desperately need the points. Who can give me some control? Who can help me see out this game? Gabriel Jesus.
Well, I knew you were going to say that.
You've got to laugh because we're all laughing. We're all saying no one gives away the ball more than Gabriel Jesus. And of course, what happened? He had a one-on-one with the keeper with about 25 seconds left to play. 25 seconds later, the ball was in the back of Arnett. I mean, you've got to laugh or you'd cry. But so, the encapsulation is that I think we've done brilliantly other seasons. You're up against this unfair situation with Man City, let's be honest. But last night and the Forest game, the Liverpool game as well, I would say, and the Brentford game as well, even though Brentford had a good side, obviously, I think were just bottling performances. So I think if someone turns around to me, because we're not going to win the title, forget about that. Because you're not going to find that mentality suddenly. How can you find the mentality? You can't, because it's not that easy, is it?
He's given it up in February.
I guarantee, and I will come on here with a Spurs shirt if we win the league. Because the problem is, it'd be okay if you said we're just in a bit of bad form. Yeah, fine, absolutely. But how do you make players? Many of those players have not won a major trophy. In fact, most of them. I think maybe you've got Timber, who won the Eredivisie, right? And I think you've got Zubimendi, who won not at club level, but won the Euros with Spain, right? And I'm talking major trophies, okay? So not Declan, bless you, mate, but not your European Conference League.
Do you think Marino is a bit woolly? Can't resist that one every time. That one makes me laugh. Anyway, you're feeling unwell. Bruce.
Yeah.
Dr. Tottenham will see you now.
Yeah, well. Do you know what would be the most interesting thing? By the way, if you're Tottenham, right, you're forgetting about the fact that you're terrible. You're forgetting about the fact that you've just made a really weird appointment of the weirdest appointment you could probably have made in world football. You're forgetting about that. And you have to be looking at Arsenal and saying, if we can get an early goal, they're going to crumble. And I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Because for me, when you're headshot, then you're gone. And I think their heads have gone. I really do. And the only hope, someone said to me today, and it's true, there's only two hopes we've got left. Miraculously, Havertz stays fit for the rest of the season, right? Which is something massively that this team needs. And Arteta finally starts playing, Norgard and stops running Zubimendi and Timber into the ground and plays Norgard and White. And has a bit more faith in them. And finally, after however many months it is, Max Downman's coming back, is the greatest kid in the world. Most people know that, I think. And he, at the beginning of the season, when he was around the team, just energizes them a bit more because he's got that thing about him. Little things like that, I think, can potentially help. But let's just say that I think Arteta's team that he selects for that Tottenham game is going to be really interesting to see if any pennies have dropped around the mentality of the players in the team.
It's going to be really interesting to see how Tottenham set up as well, of course. I think you're right. They will look at this and think,
yeah, I would if I was them.
Yeah, and they might even have less to lose in a funny way. I know they're under threat of relegation, whatever, but they're not going to go down.
No, I mean, I know that people say, but I don't think they'll.
Do you know, in this case, it's not because they're too good to go down, but it's because at the other end, they're too poor not to go down. Two teams. I mean, we're only battling one team now, and that one team is a long way behind Tottenham. So anyway, they're not going to go down.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
I'll happily stake your house on that.
I think it's a possibility. I think it's a possibility. And I didn't when you started goading me with this one a month or so ago, isn't it? No chance. But no, I've changed my mind. And the new coach coming in, anything could happen. It could be great. Weird, it could be an absolute shambles of a disaster.
Yeah, it could be.
And if it is, and Forest and West Ham and Palace and keep picking up points, then so I really wouldn't rule it out. So it's sure. In its own strange way.
But it can happen, obviously. But from what I've seen, Nottingham Forest and West Ham have got some losses in them as well, and they're not going to climb out of their situation that easily. But either way, the point I was going to make was arguably Arsenal have got more to lose. You've got the flipping title to lose for every game between now and the end of the season, I'd have thought.
Yeah.
Which takes a lot of the burden off Tottenham at a time when the crowd have been on their back.
I mean, Arsenal have got to win. I mean, I said last night, the other thing is people haven't realised this year, but it's actually out of Arsenal's hands now. And people go, no, it isn't, because if you win all our games, but one of those games is Man City away. So Man City, really, it's like it's in our hands, right? So it's in Man City's hands now. I mean, let's have it. Let's not try and introduce copium into this. The reality is, Man City should be easily the favourites for the league now. They've got the best squad as well now because of what they bought in January. Again, so obviously Pep doesn't go straight into the market, doesn't he? As soon as he gets a bit of the vapours, So that's what he did again. But I actually think there might be a bit more pressure on Tottenham, actually, because I think going into this game, Tottenham fans, and I know Tottenham fans, unbelievably, a couple of them are my friends, and they will be thinking they're there for the taking, Arsenal. Like previously, they were like, oh, God, we're going to get rolled over. Now they're thinking we've got this weird new manager and Arsenal look like they are cracking and crumbling. And they do look like that. I'm not going to lie. They do. They look like they're crumbling. Some nice friend of mine sent me a image today, like a meme, which was of like an apple crumbled in it. It said Arsenal crumble on it. And for the first time ever in my life, I had to reply back and go, yeah.
Well, funny you should say Arsenal crumble, because there is a Tottenham cake, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can have one of your own.
I'm
not sure. Not sure.
We can open a little bakery, can't we? Of sad, melancholy cakes.
As Simon and Garfunkel would say, I'd rather be a cake than to crumble. Yes, I would.
Exactly.
If I only could.
In the
Exactly
immortal
right.
words of ABC, can't complain, mustn't grumble, help yourself to another piece of apple crumble.
Those are not immortal words, mate. Otherwise, we'd all know it. But anyway, there you go. But
I'm telling you that. I mean, I've kind of, you can tell I'm kind of like at ease with it now, because what I saw I thought Forest away was about as bad as I've ever seen Arsenal play. Really bad. And of course, had a classic Martinelli moment. You can't have a bad Arsenal performance without a classic Martinelli moment. And him missing an open goal from about 4 inches was right up there.
When did you start to doubt? When did the first seeds of doubt appear in the mind of Bruce Ackland?
Well, I mean, I think you get PTSD, and because of finishing second, I've always been like, never been expecting it. Start of the season, I thought Liverpool have got that amazing squad, you know. Then I liked the way we were defending really well. We're not even defending well now. That we were defending well, and I thought, no, we're gonna squeeze this. We might squeeze the league to death, right? But I was never kind of like, oh, this is going to be our year. I don't know. Yeah, some supporters can get like that, but I was never really, this is going to be our year. The moment in which I started thinking this is wrong, right, I think was probably actually the Forest away, because I thought that against a really bad Forest who played badly on the night, and yeah, we should definitely have got a blatant handball penalty. I mean, it was such a blatant handball in that game right at the end that would have been given, you know, literally 99 times out of 100. But I couldn't even bring myself to be annoyed at that, because I just thought we were so poor. We had one chance, which was the Martinelli open goal. And as every Arsenal fan will tell you, Martinelli never scores when you really need him to, you know, like last night being another great example at 2-1. And so I think if you're asking me the point at which I started saying it definitely isn't happening, right? I probably started it at Forest away, because I just thought, how can you, against this really bad team, not get the points, because sometimes goalkeeper has a blinder, doesn't he? And it's one of those games, but turn up and play so badly when that's an opportunity to get a lead that will give you breathing space, which this team obviously needs, because as soon as it gets a little bit close, I mean, like, they are absolutely shitting the bed.
Let's be realistic now. As bad as things are for Arsenal, mate, they're still better than the Spuds. Let's face it. And
yeah,
if you can't get a result, no, it's true. Tell me, what am I lying? I dare you to say yes, you're lying.
No. You're obviously telling the truth.
No lies being told.
No lies.
No
There's a couple of things. There is a few things at play here, which I think makes this game more interesting, right? I mean, first of all, it is a North London derby, so it's the last remaining truly spiteful derby in football, right? and so that creates odd things on the pitch, and you know, players can get sent off or whatever. So you can never, the form book does have to get out the window. I know it's a cliche, but it really does in the North London derby, not in all derbies anymore. But the other thing that I think makes this interesting is they do have a new weird manager, and who knows what effect that'll have in the first game. We've all seen the manager bounce. It can often make a big deal. And the other thing is that Arsenal are coming off their worst performance in probably under Arteta, full stop, at a crucial time. Everyone's calling them bottlers, which I think is fair enough in this instance. So there's an awful lot playing this game. So a lot of it might depend on how Arsenal react to it and how Arteta does and what the team is. Like, do you know what I would like to see? I would like to see Norgard playing. And I think Ben White, just because the two players they come in for are clearly shattered. And I'd like to see Eze on the left, because he's not a central. He's not a 10. He is a 10 if you're Palace, you can dib and dob around a load, but you can't at Arsenal. And I'd like to see probably, obviously every Arsenal fan I would hope Havertz is fit. And if he is, I wouldn't play him as a second striker, although he's very good there. I'd play him up front, up top. And then I'd at least feel that we're trying to react to things, you know, which we possibly haven't in the past.
Yeah, I can't understand why Eze comes off the bench, you talked about the substitutions yesterday. Okay, I mean, the moment Gabriel Jesus was, right next to Eze coming on the pitch, you had to laugh. You did have to laugh.
You had to laugh because
Yeah,
it's
I
like
know.
stick Norgard up front. I mean,
Yeah.
anyone really.
But
No?
I wasn't watching the same game as Mikel Arteta, obviously.
Yeah.
But when I saw Eze, it just reminded me that, hang on, you said, quite rightly so, that Kai Havertz is the person that can make that front line work. But Eze is key, I would have thought, to Arsenal getting into the penalty area, getting into the box and having a little bit of room around there as well. But it doesn't, for some reason, I know they say, oh, well, you can't play him and is it Ødegaard together or whatever, but actually, like you just said, he's probably more left of Ødegaard.
Yeah, I would.
Ødegaard's more on the right. So
yeah,
I know Saka's there as well. Sorry.
Yeah, I would play Eze on the left-hand side, and just let him do his thing. I think what we've had with Eze at Arsenal so far, I would say, is almost a carbon copy of what you saw with Jack Grealish at City. Very individualistic, talismanic players coming into a team which is exceptionally rigidly system-based, and just finding it difficult to make that adjustment on a consistent basis thus far. I think
it's the Joe Cole thing, isn't it? That's what happened to Joe Cole. Do you remember? They used to call him talismanic, but they'd also call him, what was it that they used to, what was the adjective they'd use? Was it something like, idiosyncratic, not idiosyncratic.
Mercurial.
Yeah, that's one of them. I think there's one more though. Yeah,
mercurial.
Yeah,
basically, I love that.
It means in Latin, honestly, this honest gov, this is the actual literal translation of it in Latin. It means you can't fit into a flipping system, mate. Fall in line. Yeah,
fantastic.
Eze never wanted him anyway.
I think this is one of those things where there has to be a fairly significant change, because for me, it's like, I know people say it's whatever it is, it's getting into later February and there's still all these games to go. The problem is not, it's just purely the mentality. If it's simply too much for this team to deal with having to hang on for 10 minutes against Wolves, every other team you've got coming up is much better. And if they're crumbling at that possibility, I just don't know, if you're being realistic, how they're going to do that.
Do you think they might be better? They might be better chasing City than being the leaders.
Yeah, because there's less pressure if you're chasing, right? You're nipping at the heels, and the people that are out in front are the people out in front are the ones that, because how sort of sometimes have incredibly sort of basic football punditry can be. So if you're on the top, you're going to win the league, no matter when it is, if it's for a day, And so I think that, anything that takes the pressure off them clearly is a good thing, which is why it was kind of so annoying.
We can work out a master plan. We can work out a master
plan. Lose
against
against Tottenham, lose against Chelsea, then go on a run.
Exactly. What you need to do is lose against Tottenham. It will hurt you in the short term, but it will be good for you in the long term. How's that feel?
Exactly. You sound like one of them positive goonies that are like, this will be the thing that makes us charge to the title. I've heard that so many times. It was the bad Liverpool display. It was losing Man United. It was the draw at Brentford. It's the draw at Wolves now.
Do you think that you guys rely too much on set pieces for your goals, and particularly corners, which I'm afraid Tim does not like?
Not anymore, we don't.
Yeah. Not yesterday.
Yeah, no. I mean, look, the bottom line is, I mean, I'm sure you know these stats, already, but the fact of the matter is, in terms of goals scored from set pieces, I think Liverpool has scored as many as us. There's at least, I think Man United have scored as many as us. So it's not just us.
But there's a difference in that Man United and Liverpool have got a striking setup there, not just one man up front. They've got 3-4 people attacking, so they're scoring goals from open play as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a bit overplayed, the sort of the set piece thing. I know at times it was early in the season, absolutely. But I think over the course of the season, I'm not sure about that. I've just seen someone wants to ask about Arteta today. He loves this question, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mark my card.
Yeah. Well,
he's obsessed with this.
What happens, if Arteta, if they don't win the league? Well, it's not even if they don't win the league. Well, we'll get to
what happens at Arteta. That's a great preposition.
His grammar.
What happens to Arteta?
Don't embarrass the guy.
He's not going to get the double up the Arteta, is he? That's
like some of us. No, before you get to, I mean, seriously. Get to the end of the season, whether you win the league or not.
Yeah.
What happens to Arteta? I don't mean that he's going to get sacked. He's not going to get sacked. I don't even believe that he'll get sacked if he don't win the league at the end of the season.
No.
But the fans' mood towards Arteta is going to get even more toxic, I'd have thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that. I think I said this before last time I was on. In the ground, it's not toxic towards Arteta. Never has been. On social media, but you've got to be careful about taking that as polling, isn't it, for a fan group? So it's not toxic.
Losing to Tottenham, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, it depends, because you say, what happens if he doesn't win the league? Well, I'll tell you what, if he wins the Champions League, couldn't give a fuck. Because I've seen Arsenal win the league. I've seen Arsenal win the league.
You'd rather have the Champions League?
I've not seen this. Yeah, I've seen Arsenal win the league. I've not seen them win the Champions League. Yeah. And it's easier to win a Champions League.
No one ever has. No one has ever seen Arsenal win the Champions League.
No.
And so, for that matter.
No. Or many teams. But, I mean, so, I mean, so the answer to your question, it's a more nuanced question, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, like I say, my main concern is I think a lot of it is a player problem, in the sense that we've got lots of very good players, but none of them have won, very few of them have won major trophies. And I know they say, well, you've got to have that experience and you get better from it. And I'm sure that's true. The problem at the moment is, can we get to that stage of doing it? And I don't know. But I don't think it will be the league. I really don't. I think City will win with maybe 3-4 games to spare. I honestly think they will. So maybe Champions League. Do you know what my great fear is? We only win one trophy this season, and it's the Carabao Cup, because somehow that'll feel worse to me.
Yeah.
That'll feel like, do you know what I mean?
Well, at least one is better than none, though.
Well, but there will be a certain melancholy quality to that. You're not telling me we won't get the piss ripped out of us if we end up with just the Carabao Cup. We bloody well will, and we'll deserve it.
Oh,
to be fair.
But don't forget, Tottenham, they had the piss taken out of them for their European Cup victory last year, and they've worn it. They've worn it like the troopers that they are. They've embraced it. Even though it was. Do you describe it as the worst final ever in human history, Tim? Is that how you described it?
Pretty much, yeah. I can't know. If there's been another contender, I wouldn't want to sit through it.
And the teams that Tottenham played, I mean, actually, the teams that Tottenham have played in Champions League so far this season as well are a real who's who of who the fuck are you of Europe, aren't they?
Are you casting doubt on our claims to be considered the fourth best team in Europe?
I knew you were going to say that. I was getting ready to anticipate.
Can't believe you sacked the guy that got you there.
Yeah. And the sackings ain't done yet, so we'll wait and see on that one. St Totteringham's day has gone and been and gone, hasn't it?
It's gone. Yeah,
it's gone. Yeah. So the only thing left is for Tottenham to have the last laugh. Really, I mean, if you think about it, do you know what? They've already suffered the slings and arrows, haven't they?
Yeah,
of outrageous fortune.
I mean, this is their biggest game. This will be everything. Will be, they'll be all right if they can get a win in that game. Do you know what? I think it's going to be a really mad atmosphere, and I wouldn't be surprised if at the end it's a really odd game with loads of weird stuff happening in it. Do you know what I mean? And controversy, and and you'll get, I think it's going to be a really bizarre game.
The fact that Christian Romero is suspended is probably a good thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah. What would he have lasted?
Well,
10 minutes, I reckon.
Gabriel Jesus might still be suspended, and anyway, he's not coming on. You'd be pleased with that, wouldn't you, if he was suspended as well? It'd be a good thing.
Gabriel Jesus, I mean.
Yeah, because he kicked off yesterday. I don't know if you lot saw that, Tim. Gabriel Jesus.
The only
Jesus
time
kicking
Gabriel
off is weird.
Jesus, the only time he showed any fight, Gabriel Jesus, was when the final whistle went. Then suddenly he wanted to tussle. It was hilarious.
But to be fair to him, he took on somebody who was like 12 inches taller than him. You know, he wasn't. You know, when we were at school in our days, anyway, I'm not sure about nowadays, but when we were in school, there were always one or two hard nuts. You know, and I went to school in the manner, as it were, in the manner of flipping Arsenal.
Yeah.
And there were always one or two. I also went to school in the manner of Tottenham, obviously, but there were always one or two hard nuts who were short guys, you know, but they were built like bulls. Bulls, and they were the worst ones to try and mess around with. Partly because,
for sure, you
know,
low centre of gravity.
That's it. You're absolutely right. And I don't know where they got the strength in their fist from, but once I had a punch in the face from one of them, and I swear that's the closest I've been to getting a sledgehammer bang in my face. Anyway, Gabriel Jesus looks like he looks like he wanted more. You know, he was like the players were pulling him back, and Gabriel Jesus said, "No, I can deal with it. Just because he's big, I'll bring him down."
Yeah. He was like, "This is where Well, you know that he's desperately trying to play for a new contract, which is hysterical when he's chucking up the performances he is. But I don't know, maybe he thought it would ingratiate him if he just kicked off, lamped through a few Wolves players. Don't know, but it didn't work.
Mate, look, it's wonderful, and I'm glad that we can share friendly banter, Arsenal and Tottenham. I love bringing both sides together, mate. Yeah, and I do generally. I'm married to a Gooner. My stepson's a Gooner. He sneaked in yesterday, you know. He thinks I forgot. He sneaked in about 11:15 after the game. And I was like, okay, I've got bigger fish to fry today. But yesterday, I had bigger fish to fry yesterday evening. It was a nice little cod and chips, you know. But today is the day of reckoning for the Gooners in my household. I'm waiting for them.
Oh, good, poor. I feel sorry for him. I'm glad I'm not a fly on that ball. It's horrible watching that.
I'll tell you all about it when we have you on next, because it feels like you should join us again, certainly before the end of the season, because some of your predictions that you've made, including wearing a Tottenham shirt if Arsenal win the league. Well, mate,
I'm so confident of that. I'd switch to supporting Spurs if we won the league. I'm so confident we ain't get that. I've seen it. I've seen enough.
Mate, don't say that part. I'm not going to hold you to the second part, because that is very hard to do.
I'll be Igor Tudor's White Army.
I'll hold you to the first. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. May the best team win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a pleasure.
Hopefully they will.
How can people get hold of you lot? Are you part of a group or anything like that? Do you do a pod or anything? Or
no, if they want to
social media.
I'm on. You can find me on X Akaru Banzai. ACKEROOBANZAI. If you want to follow me on there, listen to me. You can find all my tweets about the bottling. I came out. I was, all my searing honesty about last night is there.
Mate, I feel for you. As Shaka Khan would say, I feel for you.
Yeah, I like this.
Because I love you.
Segment. It's good.
Yeah. We should do.
Yeah,
mate. We'll see. Speak again, Bruce Ackland. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. So let's welcome our second guest now. Remember, this is the Brazilian Shirt Name podcast. On a Thursday, we do what we call Global Soccer Interactive, and if you would like to interact, then send us a message in that little chat box to the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you've got questions, comments, or you want to come on and join us, then feel free to do that as well. But our second guest, Tim, is Peter Bolster, who's a football content creator and a Liverpool fan, been following all the games. Peter, great to have you on. Really appreciate it.
Nice to be on. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, you lot aren't contenders, though, are you? Really? Let's be real.
Well, we are contenders right now because we're still in it, and anything can happen. You've got 13, 14 top players for Liverpool. And if we can stay in the mix and keep them fit, you never know what happens. And if there's one team in the competition that you never know happens, it is Liverpool, isn't it? Let's be honest.
How much did you lot spend in the summer?
Don't want to talk about that right now. I haven't come on to talk about. I'm only joking. We spent about 450 million, didn't we? But obviously we recouped an awful lot. So are we worse than last season? We definitely are. The rebuild is only half done at the moment. So hopefully we can still get a bit of silverware this season. I'm not sure it will be the Champions League, if I'm honest, but I'll take anything. But a Champions League run is not beyond Liverpool.
Well, the only reason why I mentioned the money, and I apologise for being so crude, however, as Tim will tell you, at the beginning of this season, he's nodding already. He doesn't stop reminding me that I said, look, we may as well not bother with this season because Liverpool have won it. Because when I saw, I mean, quite apart from Isak, who was the big headline for Liverpool, when I saw Ekitike play, and you had Florian Wirtz as well coming through, I just thought, what is the flipping point, mate? They have won the league. And so, of course, Tim reminds me ad infinitum of what I said. Tell me, where did I go wrong?
Well, it's just like that. The English general on the Khyber Pass or something like that, and he's inspecting a fort, and he's been told to take cover, and his last words were, "They couldn't hit an elephant at this dist." Great predictions of our time.
Yeah. So you were saying, Peter, never mind the jokes.
No, I was with you. We were all fooled by Liverpool's transfer business. In hindsight, it's quite clear to see where the problems are.
Were you really? No reinforcement of the back line that most needed reinforcement?
I think the biggest problem what Liverpool have got, and there's no doubt that that defence needs reinforcing, like you just said. But if you would have kept Frimpong and Conor Bradley fit, it would have been a lot better than what has developed. But it's the midfield, the combination of the midfield. I think a lot of mainstream podcasts or Sky or anything like that, they don't allude to the fact that the midfield is a bit of the problem. As soon as you've put Florian Wirtz into a midfield three, you've then taken Szoboszlai out of that midfield three, and there's a lack of engine in that midfield. So McAllister was the controller in midfield, but now he's isolated in a deeper position where other teams expose that as a real weakness. So, and then the obvious is no one replacing Luis Diaz, because I don't think people realised how much defensive work he did. I know people point at the numbers, but the defensive work that Luis Diaz running back, helping the left back and helping that midfield was integral to the Premier League winning side last season.
To what extent do we have to remember Diogo Jota in the conversation about where Liverpool are at the moment, why they're maybe not firing off to the level that they would have expected as champions to be firing off on? And also, to what extent do we have to look at Arne Slot? And, let's be frank, last season, a lot of people would say that was Jurgen Klopp's team that he won the league with. And it's not just Jurgen Klopp's team, Jurgen Klopp's plan. He didn't deviate from that, but now he's had to formulate a plan of his own with a team of his own. And I'm not sure that he's got what Jurgen Klopp had, and it took a lot for Jurgen Klopp to win the league, not just once.
Would Klopp have played with Wirtz? Pete's been saying there the difficulty of playing Wirtz in a midfield three, and Klopp's line always was, much better than the best number 10 in the world is the press, because the press will win you the ball in areas where you can construct from. So would Klopp have signed Wirtz? And is a Klopp side type team possible with Wirtz, or does it mean that you have to rebuild the thing from zero?
I'm not sure. I think you're right, Tim. I think Klopp's old side wouldn't have done that. I think there was a development when you looked at the 21-22 season, and after Thiago came into the Liverpool side, Liverpool did look like they wanted to be a bit more of a technical side. Pep Linders was the architect of that. The only problem is with Liverpool is they don't, although they spent a lot of money in the summer, they don't bring in enough players. They try to change a little bit, but not change the whole style completely. And I think Liverpool are caught between both two styles at the moment. I think you're right when you talk about, has Arne Slot got everything that he needs? No, I don't think he has. I don't think he will. Historically, when he was at Feyenoord, he played with wingers. Liverpool are struggling at the moment. I know Mohamed Salah's fell off a cliff a little bit, but that left-hand side, like I alluded to before, Cody Gakpo isn't that player who's going to stretch the play and offer that outlet. So it's difficult. If Klopp would actually have played with Florian Wirtz, I think some of these signings that Liverpool brought in the summer, there's no doubt about it. They've all got ability. I just don't know if they fitted in. Was there a real thinking behind it? Because Liverpool hierarchy like to feel like they're the smartest men in the room, which they pride themselves on. But were they the smartest men in the room when they were signing these players without a clear plan of how it's all going to be cohesive? Because it doesn't look like that to me.
The smartest men in the room. No, you go ahead, Tim.
Switching to the Champions League, have you seen anyone in action this week, any of the sides in action this week, that you think will be a serious threat to Liverpool and the other teams going ahead?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, anyone's a serious threat to us. So I've been watching Galatasaray and the Juventus game, and I watched the Atletico game against Club Brugge. So that's our next round, is that they're our potential opponents. Are they a serious threat to win the Champions League? I wouldn't say any of those sides are, if I'm really honest, but they can pose problems to us. So if we just stick with Galatasaray in the first instance, we played them early in the season. We lost 1-0. Liverpool were in a bit of a slump at the time, and everyone overreacted. To me, it wasn't an out of the blue result. Liverpool have had that against Red Star Belgrade in previous seasons. They've had it against Napoli a couple of times. So I wasn't that impressed with Galatasaray, even though they beat us. But when I watched them, was it last night? It was last night, wasn't it? Was it Tuesday night? I can't remember. I'm getting mixed up. I thought they were really impressive. I thought Juventus tried to compact that midfield, but the intensity and just the sheer will to win from Galatasaray, not to mention they've got some real quality players as well. If you just look at the names of the team, you'd be surprised of how many good players are in that Galatasaray side. But the fact that the Juventus look almost surprised, and to go away to Galatasaray this time of year with those fans, it was a bit of a joy to watch, really. It's not something I'm looking forward to facing if that's our opponent. So I feel like they're quite a tricky opponent. The other one is obviously Atletico, isn't it? Because Atletico, historically, if Diego Simeone, are a difficult side to play. A low block, which Liverpool really don't want to play this season, but they are conceding goals, so I'm less worried about them. I think as a name, Atletico Madrid scare you a little bit, but when I'm watching them a little bit closer up this season, I think they conceded 18 this season in the Champions League, which is just unheard of from a Simeone side. So I do fancy Liverpool, no matter who they play, but I haven't seen a contender from this round. Possibly PSG, because they are the champions, and it was a great comeback against Monaco. I don't know what you think about that game.
Yeah, you do know your European football. I'll give you that, mate, because a lot of what you were saying was echoed by a good mate of ours, Andy Brassel, on the Continent podcast as well. Particularly what you were saying about Galatasaray. You know, what struck me was, and you were saying that when Liverpool played them previously, you know, they weren't all that. But the difference is, and the point Andy was making was that they've evolved. And they know how to manage games, as well as having all the star players like you mentioned before as well. Not least Victor Osimhen as a striker who gets you goals, not quite on the level of Harry Kane, but he's a bit of a bully. He's a bit of a bully of a centre forward, or no, not a bully. Actually, he's what I don't know if you know your reggae. Do you know your reggae?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry,
mate. Well, Lee Scratch Perry. One of the great producers of reggae, they used to describe him as the upsetter, and that's kind of what Victor Osimhen is. He upsets defenders. You know, he's an upsetter. And but Liverpool still have to focus, don't they, on the Premier League over and above the Champions League, maybe?
I think you've got to qualify for the Champions League. There's no doubt about it. I think Liverpool will show over the next couple of weeks that they've got more than enough to qualify. And I think what is in favour of Liverpool right now is that they're going to be, it's a top 5, essentially, isn't it? So I think you'd have to do something really disastrous not to finish in that top 5. The fixtures we've got coming up as well are favourable in the Premier League. So if you can actually put teams to sword a little bit more often than not, which we've been struggling with, but if we can do that over the next few weeks, we can get a bit of a point lead. We don't play anyone outside the top 8, inside the top 8 until May, we believe. So if that's the case, then you should be taking those points. The Champions League, it's there. It's not a free hit in the sense that it's acceptable for Liverpool to go out in the next round or the quarter-final just do, but at the same time, the pressure isn't on as it was when you were speaking earlier about Liverpool being favourites possibly for the Premier League when we made those signings in the summer. I think the season is what it is now. You referred to Diogo Jota, you've referred to maybe the pressures and the dynamics being different for Arne Slot, and where we are now is completely different, but I do think the Champions League is still there for Liverpool to have a go at.
Yeah,
it's the one you can win, isn't it? It's so and with all the tradition, the history of Liverpool in the competition, I would have thought it would be the number 1 and the number 2 priority at the moment, trying to win that Champions League. Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible?
I think it's possible, but I think we need a bit of luck. We spoke about Galatasaray then, about those home fans and that making it a bit of a fortress. We all know that Liverpool and Anfield is that fortress. So if we can navigate ourselves through to the next few rounds and get to a semi-final, it's anyone's game then, but we just need a bit of luck in the sense that we've just, Arne Slot was in the press conference this morning, he said, Isak will be running, or he will be ready for about late March, early April. If you've got your 13, 14 footballers, the ones that you want to be playing football games, ready at that point, then all day Liverpool have got every chance against anyone. Liverpool's 11 and Liverpool's 12, 13 players can compete with most sides in Europe. It's whether we take any more knocks. If we take any more knocks, then it's going to be detrimental.
How the fans, the legendary Kop, how have they been maybe coming to terms with the fact that virtually anybody can beat Liverpool on a day, when you're not playing to your full potential? You've seen some defeats this season that were very unlike Liverpool. How are you getting used to the fact that you're vulnerable?
It's not a nice feeling, I'll be honest with you. I think it's happened that often over the last few months. It's also, you become a little bit numb to it. So it sounds mad, but a defeat last season hurt more because you were in the hunt for the league title, you were in the hunt for the Champions League, and it's a bit like, bloody hell, not again. And you're looking for something to get better. And I'm not really sure Liverpool have turned the corner yet, and that's why I won't come on this show and say, Liverpool, I'll definitely win the Champions League or whatever. But there are signs of improvement. There are some green shoots. And I think Liverpool fans are always fully behind the manager, whoever the manager is, and they're fully behind the players. It has been a difficult season, there's no doubt about it.
How are you feeling about next season?
Next season, it's so. If you was to speak to me 4 or 5 weeks ago, I'll be really honest. I was looking at a Liverpool side that was showing nothing. They were showing no identity. So it's not about getting beat. You can get beat, but you can still see where the teams, where they travel a direction. What I haven't seen is a proper identity. You said earlier on about Arne Slot, and he didn't have much to change last season with Jurgen Klopp's side. You're totally right. So we see what we see, but this season, once you've got more of his own players, it's a bit like I'm still waiting to see something really exciting and like proper green shoots and proper identity. And what I wanted from now to the rest of the season is to see Liverpool with a proper identity. Sometimes if you go and win a league title, it actually starts off the season before. If you look at Leicester City in 2016, the season before, he started winning games a few months before. Liverpool, I know they didn't win it 2014, but the season before, you start off a title form before that season starts. And if Liverpool are going to do anything next season, they really need to show the real deal now. Really, that's what I'm hoping. But it's also down to the transfer business in the summer. If Liverpool have to make those signings correct now, because I believe that there are players like Florian Wirtz, there's players, Hugo Ekitike, who got bags of ability, but if you don't put the players around them, we'll see a similar scenario.
Yeah, before we bring this to a conclusion, Peter, just you misunderstood my previous question. I was really trying to sort of get a sense of the mood in the stadium amongst fans, because it's funny, Liverpool's one of those teams that you can hear the mood change, even when you're watching it on the telly. You can literally hear people gasping, whatever it might be. I wonder how you would sum up the mood in the stadium.
The mood in the stadium, more doubter than believer. I think that might answer your question. I think we've gone behind in games where under the last 8 or 9 years under Jurgen Klopp, and you'd always believed that you were in the game, and now it's a bit like, for example, the Newcastle game a couple of weeks ago when we went a goal down. It was one-way traffic after half an hour, and it only looked like there was going to be one winner. So I was more surprised that Liverpool come back and won that game, and in the manner we did. So it's I would say more doubted than believer at the moment.
And just tell us, what is that Spy on Cop podcast? Where can people get hold of you?
So this is on YouTube. So if you want to come over and subscribe, it's free, and it's on Spotify, Patreon, all the podcast platforms. So if you want to get on it, then we're here.
Really appreciate you talking to us today, Peter.
Cheers, fellas.
Thank you very much, Peter Bolster there of the Spy on Cop podcast, I should say. Tongue twister. Tim, South American football-wise, what's been happening?
Yeah, just 3 little bits of news. One is that today, Thursday the 19th, the 40th birthday of the great Marta. And the story ain't over yet. Surely the most influential player in the history of the women's game, legitimised it in so many different places. And we're just over a year away from the next Women's World Cup in Brazil. I'm sure she's going to want to be involved in that at the age of 41. So happy birthday to her. And her story goes on and on. Another 2
Cristiano
quick
Ronaldo
little bits of
in this World Cup, isn't he? He's at 41.
Yes,
He's 41
yes.
years old, exactly. So why not Marta? Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Felipe Coutinho has walked out of Vasco da Gama, blaming former Liverpool player, of course, blaming a lot of social media, blaming a lot of influencers, negative environment in the Vasco da Gama stadium. All of their Rio rivals have won big silverware recently, so there's been a lot of pressure on them. They lost in the final of the Brazilian Cup at the end of last year. He got subbed at half time in Vasco's last game at the weekend, and he just felt it all very negative. Now he's quite a shy character. I don't think he deals with this kind of stuff very well. He didn't at Barcelona when it all went wrong for him at Barcelona, and this is also interesting, I think, for fans of Crystal Palace, because they have a player on loan there, Mateus França, attacking midfielder, who it's a hard ask for him at Vasco, because he came up at Vasco's big rivals, Flamengo. And now after Palace didn't quite work out, a lot of injuries, it's been loaned back to Vasco. So that's a hard ask right from the start. He's a product of their great rivals. He's got to score a hat-trick in 3 consecutive games just to be accepted. And he's lost all confidence. Again, because of that similar atmosphere in the stadium, brutal fans having a go at him. Now, Felipe Coutinho leaving, it could open up space for him. It could mean that he gets more game time, because he's had next to nothing recently, and the club seems to have lost confidence in him as well. It really hasn't worked out at all. So maybe now he can get 1 or 2 more opportunities, but it's a tough one for him. And one story straight out of left field, I think, Jesse Lingard, once at the Premier League, has been in talks with a Brazilian club. The club is Remo, which means rowing. They started, like loads of big Brazilian clubs, they started life as a rowing club. Easier ways to earn a living, I think, because newly promoted Remo, and everyone expects them to go down. We're 3 rounds into the Brazilian Championship, not a win yet, 1 defeat and 2 draws. So it's going to be a long battle this season against relegation. And also look at the map where they are. They're the city of Belém, right in the north. It's on the edge of the Amazon. And it means that almost all of their away games It's a massive flight. You know, it's 3-4 hours for them to fly down to Rio, Sao Paulo, Belo Horizonte, and so on. So there are easier ways to make your money than signing for him. Or what I wonder if he might be doing, I don't know, but it's certainly what I would be doing if I was in his shoes. Draw out these negotiations a little bit, see if you can smoke someone else out and get an easier gig in Brazil. It's a very interesting league to play in, but it's not a holiday home. The games come thick and fast. There's lots of travelling, especially if you play for Hermel right in the north. So we will find out in the next few days what Jesse Lingard will do with his career.
Well, good for him is what I would say. Yeah, why not? Tim, absolute pleasure. This is the Brazilian Shirt Name podcast. We're back with you on Wednesday from 4 p.m. Wednesdays and Thursdays. We're here 4 p.m. UK time. Join us at any time and join in the conversation as well. You can follow that on our WhatsApp group, and also please remember to subscribe to this podcast and to this YouTube channel. Subscribe to Football Smash so you never miss anything from the Brazilian Shirt Name. That's what it says there, Tim. How do you say hasta la vista in Portuguese?
Até a próxima.
What?
Get in touch with the Brazilian Shirt Name podcast on Twitter at BrazilShirtPod, or you can email us BrazilianShirtNamePod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, rate and tell a friend. The Brazilian Shirt Name podcast is an 1129 production.